Welcome to Your Yes-Filled Life. I'm Brenda Winkle, energetic leadership guide, psychic medium, and somatic coach for ambitious leaders who know their gifts are real and who want to stand fully in them. Here, you'll learn how to trust your intuition, embody your vision, and step into the freedom you've been craving, all without chasing more certifications or carrying stuff that does not belong to you. Every week, I'll share powerful practices and conversations with thought leaders and changemakers that help you transform your vision into embodied confidence, claim your gifts without apology, and lead with both clarity and freedom. Because your gifts aren't cute, they're powerful, they're real, and they're needed. Start today by downloading my free energy audit at brendawinkle.com/audit. It's the exact tool I use to track what's fueling me and what's draining me. It will help you discern between that hit of achievement and true joy so that you can lead with more clarity and impact. This is your space to stop proving, start embodying, and live fully in your gifts. Welcome to Your Yes-Filled Life. Hello and welcome to Your Yes-Filled Life. I'm your host, Brenda Winkle. Today on the podcast, we're going to be talking about the hidden costs of making yourself responsible for other people's emotions. Now, I've said before in the podcast, and I'm going to say it again, I teach what I most need to know. This has been an area that I've been working for most of my life because as somebody with deep empathy and compassion, I always felt responsible for how other people felt. And it wasn't until 2007, when I was 35, that I made a really big choice that went against what everyone else wanted and chose something for me. And that was when I left a marriage that was just not aligned, to put it mildly. And it changed something in me because I realized, wait a minute, I chose myself and everyone's okay. And so over time, over these past 19 years, I've gotten better and better and better at really choosing me while being rooted in compassion and empathy. I have a servant's heart. I love to give. I am very service oriented. I care deeply about people, which is why I often would overgive and overcommit and kind of people please and all the things. And I didn't realize that was coming at a really steep cost right up until the time that I left that marriage. And then it happened again in 2021 when I chose to leave a very lengthy career in Boise to move to Portland, Oregon. And so I had all the people in Boise to consider, but also my family, my mom, my sister, my dad, my brother-in-law, my two nieces all lived in Madison, Wisconsin. The vast majority of my family lives out east. And a lot of them live out further east than even Wisconsin. And so this was a really massive change for me to just do something that was right for me. And every time I've made a decision like that, that really prioritized me, I went through this new identity shift and it got easier and easier and easier to do. And so what I want to talk to you about today is the hidden cost of making yourself responsible for other people's emotions that you may not have considered. And the truth is, I know that you have felt these. I know that you are aware on a lot of levels of the cost because that's why you're listening to this podcast. That's why you're drawn to the title, Your Yes-Filled Life. It's not about saying yes to everything. It's about saying yes to the things that actually light you up. Yes to the things that your soul, your heart long to be a part of. That's the yes, right? But so many of us that long for this yes-filled life have deep empathy and deep compassion, and we care for others. We've been drawn to helping or caring professions. Like probably chances are you are an at-home parent, a physician, an educator, a nurse, a coach of some kind. You care about people. And that's why you're at this podcast. because you care about people and also you want to live into your own yes, right? So when I think about the hidden costs, I'll be honest, I didn't think there were costs. I think I felt like I was doing a pretty good job. And I felt like I was contributing by being responsible for everyone's emotions. I felt like I was helping. Like I kind of patted myself on the back about that. And not only did I pat myself on the back about it, but I took great pride in doing things that I knew would make people happy or things I knew would make people feel good. And let's be clear, I'm not telling you not to do things that make people happy. What I am saying is if you're doing that at the expense of your own happiness, we have something to consider. And that's the piece we're talking about today. So, I want to tell you a story of a very successful client that I was working with. And this client came in working with me, and she already had a very well established business. She was earning her complete income from her business, and she was gaining notoriety as a speaker and had a very hefty five figure in the high five figures speaker fee. And even though she was a very successful speaker, she was still speaking for free inside of one of her friends' conferences. And this wasn't like it was a one time thing that she was doing for free, it was something she did on repeat year after year after year. And one day she was talking to me and she was absolutely torn up because she recognized that the identity of someone who owned a company as successful as hers was very different from the identity of someone who was speaking for free at her friend's conference when she felt like there was no reciprocity coming in any direction. Like it wasn't really appreciated. It was costing her time, energy, bandwidth, and then ultimately not making any money. And the friendship had grown in different directions. So they weren't as close as they were. And so she came to me and she was like, I just don't know what the right thing to do is. And so what we worked on was, and this might be surprising, we worked on her emotional sovereignty, her energetic sovereignty. How could she separate out her emotions from being responsible for her friends? And the moment we did that, it became so crystal clear to my client that she had to decline to do this speaking engagement because she realized the cost was not only financial, but it was costing her clients. It was costing her family. It was costing her kids time with her because these conferences were all over the country. And so each time she went to one, it was a week away from her kids for something that she didn't want to do. And when she realized all of those costs, it became so much easier for her to say to her friend, this isn't aligned for me anymore. I need to move a different direction. And when we think about the hidden costs, those are pretty obvious, right? But what about when the neighbor who isn't actually a friend, like you've never done anything socially other than chit chat on the sidewalk, and that neighbor texts you with, hey, friend, can you please advertise our place that's going up for rent? And you're like, wait, what? No, we're not even friends. We're not even friends. And you want me to share your rental property with people? What am I, Zillow? No. But instead, you say something like, "Oh, let me think about it. Let me see who I know," right? That's the moment we're talking about. So, yeah, it's complex in the sense that maybe you have a business and maybe you're agreeing to do things that are costing your business or costing your family, but also it's in the more minute ways of people that are taking from you in a way that they're not giving reciprocally, or you're just overgiving, you're volunteering, you're overgiving voluntarily. And I'll tell you something. A lot of times we think, as people who have this deep empathy and compassion, that we're helping people when we just give and give and give and give. Well, the more work I've done on this, and the more I realize this is my energetic sovereignty, this is my emotional sovereignty, and this is yours, the more I realize that when I was taking on too many people's emotions, I was not listening to my own. And that's a problem for multiple reasons. The main problem is if we're not listening to our own emotions, we are not cued into our own internal GPS system. And I view our emotions as the internal GPS. So if you have predominantly positive emotions, you're not going to be 100% positive all the time, but let's say most of your life you're feeling pretty good, you can be assured that your internal GPS system is navigating things correctly. You're choosing aligned relationships, you're choosing aligned situations and aligned ways to spend your time because you're generally feeling positive emotions. And I would consider a positive emotion anything above contentment. Contentment, satisfaction, joy, peace, love, friendship, excitement, passion, anything that is higher than contentment. And that's pretty obvious. Like we tend to notice when things are going really well, right? And we're like, oh, things are just good right now. And then we seek more of those good feeling things. But the problem is that if we are making ourselves emotionally responsible for other people's emotions and we're edging out our internal emotions, we can miss some really important cues. So the cues of feeling good emotions, those are really important. And I'm not trying to make them less or more important than our negative emotions, but I will say this. If you're ignoring your own negative emotions, you're ignoring all of the signs and signals your body, subconscious, soul, nervous system is trying to give you that there is a misalignment. And when you're making yourself responsible for other people's emotions and you're missing these emotional cues because you're so worried about everyone else's emotions, you might mistake some of their negative emotions or whatever as, oh, it's just theirs. I'm not receiving any feedback from my situation right up until the time you end up hospitalized with exhaustion or hospitalized with a gallstone stuck in your cystic duct. That was my story, quite literally. Quite literally. And so if you're not tuned in to your own emotions, you will think things are aligned that are not, and you will think things are misaligned that might actually be really good for you. So, we want you to feel your own emotions. That's number one. And that is one of the highest costs of being responsible for how other people are feeling, is that you aren't feeling your own emotions. But there's more costs. One of the things that starts to happen is you'll make other people's emotions more important than what it is you want to do. And this is often where I start to see a certain type of person come in to work with me because they say things like, I don't have any energy. I am kind of sad. Sometimes they'll use the word depressed, but oftentimes they'll just say, I'm kind of sad. I have anxiety. I just don't feel like myself. I wonder if it's perimenopause. I don't know. Maybe it could be. Well, and maybe it could be. But what I've found is oftentimes we're ignoring our own negative emotions because we're so busy taking care of the emotions of other people. And look, we get a payoff for that. As people with deep empathy and compassion, we get a payoff for knowing that we've done something to contribute. It scratches that helper itch that we have because we really do want to be helpful. We want to be of service. And then we can also congratulate ourselves for actually helping. And in the meantime, we also get the payoff of not having to tend to the things in our own lives that are causing us those negative emotions that we're ignoring in the first place. And that's when you find yourself last on your own list, or maybe you're not even on your list, or you find yourself agreeing to do things that you resent later. And you might find yourself overspending in ways that don't feel aligned for you because you're feeling that emotional pressure to do things with other people that maybe not what you want to do. And this is just the start of it. So when I'm teaching the masterclass, when you know exactly what to do, but something stops you, I'm talking about this moment where you know for example, you need to withdraw from speaking free at your friend's conference. You know you need to do that, but something stops you. Or you know you need to tell your neighbor, hey, look, I know that you think I should be the one that shares your rental information with people, but it's a no for me. I'm not going to do that for you. When you know exactly what to say, but something stops you, or you know exactly what to do, but something stops you, that's the moment we're talking about inside the masterclass. It's on April 7th. You can register at brendawinkle.com/next level, and I'll put the link in the show notes here. But the cost is bigger than all of this because if you're prioritizing taking care of other people's emotions over your own, you are not seeking fulfillment. You're not making the difference that you could be making because you're not letting people have the dignity of their own experiences because you're so busy trying to manage the experience. And we each only have a certain amount of bandwidth. And you're not tending to your own side of the street if you're so busy worried about other people's emotional experiences. So, yes, we want to find a balance where you can have that beautiful, caring heart of yours and you get to do the things you want to do. You get to finally go rent the cabin so you can write your freaking book that you've been delaying for the past 7 years and you can't find any time to write during the day because everyone just comes at you with demands, 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 demands. Or let's say you have been over giving in your own family and your grown children come up to you, grown, or let's just say high school age, come up and they're like, what's for dinner? And instead of saying, well, let's think about it, you can say, I don't know. What do you think we should have? Because I'm doing something right now that's really important. Maybe you could help me make a plan. And those are things I know you want to say, but you may not be saying fully. And we're going to be looking at that moment and we're going to be looking at how to shift it. We're going to talk about what is happening inside the body in a nervous system stress response. And I'm going to give you some tangible tools to start working with it. And then if you want to go deeper, there is a way that you can continue working with me in a brand new program I'm launching called Power, which is this synthesis of all of the other programs I've ever held. And I'm teaching you the Power framework, which is a beautiful method that I use with people with high empathy so that they take on less emotions and energy from other people. And when I think about all of this work, I'm reminded I'm working with Tiffany Carter right now. This is my second time working with her. I really respect her. She's been a guest on the podcast and she's absolutely fabulous. And a lot of times I'll get to work on something in the program that I'm in with her, and suddenly I'll have this compulsion to schedule something, or I'll be like, gosh, I'm so tired. I think I have to have a nap. Those are not real. Those are my nervous system saying, ooh, the changes that you're asking us to make in the identity and the messaging are really threatening to our current identity. So I think we might just have you stop. But because I have coaches, plural, coaches, I know that this is what's happening and I can work through it. Because the truth is, all of us have a nervous system. And no matter what level you're at, whether you are just discovering that you have a nervous system that's been impacting you, or you're a nervous system expert, you still are working through this kind of stuff. So my own identity is really shifting. It has been shifting for the past year. It is continuing to shift as I step into the CEO identity. And the things that I was available for, I'm no longer available for. I simply don't have the bandwidth or the energy for it. And it's really shifting how I'm showing up in every area of my life. And you better believe my nervous system is talking to me about it. My nervous system is talking to me about not answering client phone calls after 5 p.m. My nervous system is talking to me about holding my 24-hour cancellation notice. My nervous system is talking to me about protecting my time to be able to work on the program that I'm building. All of this is happening for me in real time. And so when I say I get it, I want you to know I get it. I really get it. And as my identity continues to shift into the more CEO identity, I'm having to let go of different things that used to be really familiar and comfortable, mostly because they were familiar. And the same thing is happening for you, which is why you're at this crossroads right now of should I say the thing? Should I do the thing or not? Your nervous system is saying, hey, we view this potential change as a threat. So come join the masterclass. I actually am going to be teaching you some somatic tools so that you can work with your nervous system when it starts to talk to you and it starts to tell you, oh, hey, we need to schedule 4 things today, so we can't possibly have time to work on the book. Or I think you just need a nap. Whatever the case may be, we're going to be working through it together. And when we think about the cost of trying to manage other people's emotions, the biggest cost is your joy. Yeah, it feels good to help people. Yeah, it feels good to care for people. It does not bring you joy. Not really. It does not bring you joy to do work that they could and possibly should be doing on their own. It's probably bringing you resentment. It's probably bringing you fatigue, maybe bringing you burnout, probably sadness. I had someone message me last week, and she said in her message, I'm writing this through tears. I don't know what this shift means. And I just want you to know I get it. I get how scary it is just to be able to say or do the thing that you really want to do. And we're told by society that it should just be as simple as doing the thing. But because you have a nervous system and because you have these sensitivities and this deep empathy, it is not that simple. It's not that simple. And there's nothing wrong with you. You are not broken. You don't need to be fixed. You need to be supported. So come join me at the masterclass. I want to see you there. And when you come live, you can ask me real time questions and we can work through things together. And there is a replay if you're interested. And the power program that'll be launching soon. So keep your eyes and ears out for that. That is designed for people with deep empathy and compassion who are navigating transitions and changes just like this, where we're talking about moving into a new identity. So keep your eyes and ears open for that. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Because of you, the podcast has maintained its ranking in the top 5% globally of all podcasts. Well, that and my consistency. I mean, we're coming up on the 4th year of the podcast, and I have not missed a single week of releasing an episode. And the last year, I've been releasing 2 episodes a week. And that even counts the week my dad died. I still recorded and got a podcast out because I'm committed to doing it. And I've had to work on my own nervous system to give me the capacity to be able to do that. And so if you're right at the beginning of the journey, just know that we've all been at the beginning of the journey. And if you're right in the middle of the journey, like the messy middle, what Tiffany Carter calls the dirty diaper phase, I'm there right now too. Like I'm still working through some stuff. And there's just love for you. There's love for you being on this journey. Thank you for showing up for you. Every time you show up for you, you are empowering somebody in your life to show up for themselves. And that's what we really want. We can be helpers and carers and empathic leaders and show up for ourselves. It doesn't have to be self-sacrificing to be loving. If you enjoyed this episode, would you please share it with 3 of your friends? And if it's been a while since you've given the podcast a rating and review, please go give it a rating and review. Thank you for being here. Bye for now. Until next time.